how are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I want to introduce you to, you met Micah, who's the mayor. Remember
Yes, I remember.
Backstage with Ringo.
The youngest mayor in all of America.
Well, yeah, I look young. I'm actually 30 now, Richard, so I'm getting old on you. But
Well, you don't have to admit that.
I see. I shouldn't. I should just keep my youth while I'm young. And our lovely co-host Michelle Matthews. She's beautiful, blonde, about 5'6".
5'9".
5'9". Sorry, my eyes are a little off.
Well, you guys sound like you're having a good time.
We have the most amazing time. I started doing this morning show, a year and a half ago with these guys. And Richard, when it works together, it just works. And I couldn't imagine doing the show without these guys.
Oh, that's great. How's your wife?
Megan's great. A little mad at me today because we did a topic about what kills the mood, Richard. What kills the mood? And
Well, I think what kills the mood when you're talking to her is you actually know more about me than you do about her.
That is a good point. When I drop my RP facts around, it does kind of no. She actually sent a text message saying, "Have fun with RP today." So yeah,
Good.
So no, it's so great to talk with you. We're excited because number one, I love the fact that you got a brand new country album, Goin South. You've been working on this, and I know that through your career, you've written for so many great artists: Josh Groban, Celine Dion. You've even dabbled in Nashville a little bit because Richard Marx and a Phil Stacey cut. How did this all come together that you said, "I just want to do a complete country album"?
Well, honestly, my son, James, who's 22, got into country music. He started going to a Stagecoach, which is a big country event here in Southern California. And he started listening to country radio, and he just got really into it, and he started turning me on to all kinds of great music. I mean, not that I wasn't aware of it myself. Cuts by Zach Brown and Eli Young, and, just really interesting songs. And like I said on my album, I don't think there's a huge difference between what we were writing in the 80s and what contemporary country music is now, except that the instrumentation's different. And maybe there's a little more twang in the voice. But I just got really into it, and I knew some people down there, and they invited me down. I have some fans in Nashville and some songwriting friends, and that's how I got started. And pretty soon I had this body of work and really liked it, and I thought, well, might as well make a record out of it as I go ahead and pitch these songs to other people, because that's kind of what I do on the side anyway. So
let's talk about, the song is a great mix of stuff. Let's talk about Another Day Gone By. What an amazing ballad. Did you co-write that with somebody, or is that just a complete Richard Page original?
That's something I wrote myself. And, it wasn't until after I'd finished the song that sometimes you write and you don't really know exactly where the inspiration's coming from. And later my wife said to me, she said, this is kind of the story of your childhood. Because I came up in a family, really tight family with a bunch of kids. We didn't have a lot of money, and we kind of hung together. And, it's funny how stuff like that happens. I said, you know what, you're right. Maybe that's where it came from. But it's just a song about life, and it's, I'm glad you like it.
I love it. I think it's one of the great ones on the whole album is fantastic. And you always seem to be working with different musicians all the time, because every album that you do always has a different set of musicians. Is that just by chance or people that you want to work with?
Well, this one, I chose Tim Pierce because he does a lot of this kind of stuff for groups like Rascal Flatts and, a lot of the contemporary country music that you hear right now, he plays on it. And Greg Bissonette, who's in Ringo's band with me, is just one of the most versatile guys around. And I chose a guy named Doug Livingston here in L.A. who plays pedal steel. He's just a great, great player. So, it's just like whoever fits the bill, who fits down, and those guys turned out to be the right people.
So, Richard, I want to know, you've worked with some really awesome celebrities. Is there anyone that you haven't worked with yet that you really want to work with?
Well, I always wish that I'd sung on a Steely Dan record.
Yeah.
They were my favorites, one of my favorites coming up. And, I was doing sessions back in the day when they were recording. Never got the call to go over and work with them, although a lot of my friends. So I would say them, of course there's a lot of people out there. That's one that jumps out first.
And you just wrapped up a track with none other than Ringo Starr. This is a big deal because he's never written with any members of the All-Star Band, and you guys did it as a collective, right?
Yeah, he always wanted to do that. And, he kept saying during sound checks, well, let's just come up with something. And it just, we'd jam around, but nothing really started to form. And then one day, Greg Raleigh, from Santana, our keyboard player, came up with this little reggae thing. It's just a little chord progression. We just all started to pitch in, and pretty soon it turned into a tune. And we got together and we wrote the lyrics. And every sound check, we'd record what we were doing, and it just got better and better. And then we ended up over at Ringo's house recording it right after the tour. It turned out really good.
Pre-order going on. I haven't even heard a snippet yet. We're all anxious to hear a snippet of that.
Well, everybody's saying this is one of the best records that he's done. He's got some great writers on there. I think he wrote one with Gary Burr, I think, or Gary Nichols Nashville. Richard Marx is on there. Steve Lukather wrote one with him.
Oh, yeah. So a great line of all-star musicians.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to hearing it myself.
We want to hear it. I love kind of introduced you through Rick's, obviously, pulling up the album and playing your songs. But You Are Mine is a song that we played at Rick's wedding. And I've watched your performance of that in Nashville. And it is incredible, the lyrics that you have, because I think country music today has kind of gotten away from storytelling.
I agree, yeah.
That song really spoke to me. How do you're writing these songs for people today. How do you get somebody that's on the radio regularly today to play maybe a song that you're written like that, or do you?
That's a good question. I'm still trying to figure that out.
After all these years.
I mean, if I have one complaint about country music, it's the same thing that happens in all popular genres, is that there's like one sort of template of a song that really works, a huge hit, and then everybody jumps on it and tries to do that song. So a lot of the things you hear right now have the same chord progression, the same sort of litany of lyrics about, ice cold beer, a pickup truck, and a girl with a tight pair of on. Just hear it over and over and over, and it's like, okay, when's somebody going to move on to something else? And I was told a long time ago by a very good friend of mine in Nashville who's worked with Dan Huff, a guy named Daryl Franklin, who's a really great guitar guy. He said, look, don't write for the market. Don't ever do that. That's the kiss of death. You got to just write what you feel. Stick with that, because that's who you are, and that's ultimately what people are going to want to hear. So, you just wait around, you write what you feel, and you hope that somebody gets it, and you take it from there.
Like a song like Turn Out the Light, because I know Sam Hunt is doing the spoken word a little bit. That's one of the songs that's on Goin South, your album, that definitely kind of breaks the mold a little bit.
Yeah, I was writing that with a couple of guys, a really great lyricist named Greg Becker and another musician named Matt Dragstrom. And we were just sitting around in Matt's house writing this song, and I was singing these. I'd written it the night before, this verse thing. I was singing it just wasn't working, And it was kind of early in the morning, and I had my low morning voice on. So I just started saying it, and they all looked at me and they went, "That's it. You got to do it like that." That's it. I thought I was just clowning around, And so that's how that came about. So people listen to it. Yes, that is me.
That's what my wife asked too. Is that Richard? Is he talking? I'm like, yep, that's him.
Well, the last song on the album, a song called "This Side of the Soil," my wife Linda actually thought it was the guy I wrote it that singing.
Wow, she thought, oh wow.
Is that Joe Doyle singing? I said, no, that's me. She goes, man, that didn't sound like you at all.
Well, it's just nice to get out there, work with a bunch of different musicians, mix it up a little bit, and they can get the album, richardpagemusic.com, Goin South. Excited? Are you going to perform any of this on tour with Ringo, or does that kind of still have to stay in the backside? Because I know you do You Are Mine during the show.
Yeah, the set stays the same. We haven't changed the set for a couple of years because it really worked. So, no, I won't be doing that.
Is there any? I mean, everybody wants you to do a solo show. You and I have just talked about it, but is that even going to be possible in the future?
Anything's possible. I don't have any plans, but yeah, I'd love to get out there and do a whole set of my songs. But I don't have any plans to do that yet.
Is Mr. Misher going to reunite? I'm just asking the basic ones that everybody, all the faces, as you already know, they keep in contact with me. And they ask me the question since I'm so fortunate to have a direct line. They're like, and I always tell them the same answer you do, Richard, is always tell them that you never know.
You never know. And, this year, 2015, is the 30th anniversary of our first big hit, Broken Wings.
Oh my gosh, 30 years ago. That's crazy.
It's still really, really old. We're happy that people still love the songs, and I still get a a lot of comments from people about the songs sent to them. I never say never. One day we might get together, even if we have to be wheeled onto the stage with oxygen masks. We might try that.
Number one, the website, richardpagemusic.com. It's a fantastic album. Go try it out. That's where they can get it exclusively, right? Goin South, Richard.
That's right. Yeah, go to my website, richardpagemusic.com.
Last question, Richard, is what do you tell young people that want to get into the music business? Is it tough? Songwriting, the whole thing. You've been to the mountain. You've been on tour with the Beatles. You've kept your career alive this many years. What do you tell young people getting in the biz?
Well, it's a double-edged sword. Because there's some really positive things about the new paradigm with the internet and with artists sort of representing themselves and having an avenue to get their music out. That's the good news. The bad news is that nobody's really buying records anymore. They're buying singles. That's pretty much exclusively what's happening. I know people release albums, but if you look at iTunes, a lot of people just take one song. The day of the concept album or just selling your body of music may be gone, and that's not a great thing. And of course, the sales are down in general, so that's tough on artists because artists need money to be able to go back and do a new record. I just tell them if they got something to say, get on the internet, get your music out there. Somebody will find it, and just don't give up.
And that's where everybody's found you, richardpagemusic.com.
Yeah,
Richard Page, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. I know you go on tour next week with Ringo, so as they always say in the biz, break a leg, right?
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Richard. Have a great day.
Okay, take care.